For 6 long years, I've fought insulin resistance every single day, and nobody ever once told me this tiny secret. I tried everything imaginable, cutting calories hard, timing workouts perfectly, even fasting for hours, hoping something would finally change inside. All those methods actually worked a little, yet one crucial piece stayed missing, and that gap quietly wrecked my progress. So today, I want to save you all those wasted years by simply handing you the one thing I missed. The missing piece is one simple breakfast move that literally tells your brain to switch appetite mechanisms completely off now. Maybe you already know that exact feeling, eating a full breakfast yet feeling strangely hungry again by mid-morning somehow. You quietly blame your willpower, your discipline, or your motivation, but honestly, none of those things were the real problem. The real problem was a hidden biological signal running quietly underneath everything, pulling your appetite completely out of your control. For 6 long years, I convinced myself I simply needed more discipline, more control, and much stronger daily willpower somehow. But raw willpower always fails eventually, because you simply cannot outwork a loud biological signal screaming inside your tired brain. Before we go deeper, understand this. The biggest hidden driver behind stubborn insulin resistance is quiet, constant, unresolved bodily inflammation. The single most inflammatory thing living inside our body is stored body fat, especially the deep tissue fat we carry. When we do this breakfast maneuver and burn extra fat, inflammation drops and insulin finally reaches the cell once again. And once insulin reaches the cell properly, your body slowly begins correcting the entire insulin resistance problem from deep within. Inflammation basically acts just like static, blocking the clear signal between your insulin and your hungry, waiting body cells everywhere. Clear away that stubborn inflammation, and suddenly insulin can knock on the door and actually get let inside easily again. Here is the spoiler you probably did not expect. This powerful fix is not fasting, though fasting still helps somewhat. It is about protein, but not the boring satiety story you have heard repeated everywhere for the last 5 years. This idea was quietly buried inside research for decades until it recently resurfaced and started spreading again through science circles. In this video, I will first reveal exactly what this simple breakfast hack really is and why it truly works. Then I will show you the best foods to combine with it, and finally, a complete simple daily protocol structure. With that full plan, you can course-correct insulin resistance while also dropping serious, stubborn body fat along the way. By the very end of this, you will understand your own hunger better than you ever truly have before now. So what exactly is this hidden breakfast protein hack that quietly changes everything about how your appetite behaves each day? It comes from a landmark study published way back in 2005 describing a fascinating concept scientists now call protein leverage. Your brain, your hypothalamus, and your liver all constantly receive powerful signals directly from the protein you eat each day. If you do not reach one very specific protein target, those hungry organs keep screaming at you to eat more. They will keep pushing you to eat more calories again and again until that exact protein number is finally reached. Think about it just like a thermostat that refuses to switch off until the exact protein reading is finally reached. Until that reading is fully satisfied, the thermostat keeps demanding more fuel, and that fuel usually just means extra food. This single powerful mechanism quietly explains why so many people overeat despite genuinely trying incredibly hard every day to stop.
The truly heartbreaking part is you were never weak or broken. Your biology was simply running an ancient survival program. That ancient program once kept all our ancestors alive, but today it quietly drives constant overeating and endless daily frustration. Now, this is completely different from that old tired advice about protein simply being filling because digestion just takes longer. Yes, protein is filling, exactly like fiber is filling, but that simple satiety effect is not the real magic here. The real magic is actually hitting that internal target so your brain finally stops begging for extra food all day. So what is that magic target number? Well, research shows you need around 0.6 grams per pound of your body weight. That amount is your daily minimum threshold, and the goal is to hit it right there with your first breakfast. For a person weighing around 200 pounds, that roughly means about 120 protein grams every single morning. That might honestly sound like a lot, but with the right chosen foods, it becomes surprisingly simple to reach daily. Newer studies also clearly prove you can eat large protein amounts in one sitting and still absorb it all beautifully. This truly is incredibly liberating for anyone struggling with insulin resistance who feels completely trapped by constant hunger and cravings. You can load higher protein straight into breakfast, hit your target early, and your appetite simply calms right down afterward. With a calm, quiet appetite, you eat less, drop more fat, lower inflammation, and steadily improve insulin sensitivity over time. Imagine finally getting through an entire long morning without that nagging urge to snack constantly on random little things anymore. That calm, quiet, controlled feeling is exactly what hitting your early morning protein target reliably creates deep inside you daily. Always remember that insulin resistance is really fundamentally an inflammatory condition, far more than it is anything else at all. Here is exactly why this actually works so deeply once your brain and liver finally stop screaming for extra food. When that constant signaling finally shuts off, your body releases powerful counter-regulatory hormones that quietly change everything happening inside. These hormones actively reduce inflammation and directly improve insulin sensitivity, which is exactly what your tired, struggling body really needs. I honestly wish that someone had told me this earlier, because it was far easier than everything else I tried. Meeting those protein goals early in your day genuinely changes the entire internal ecosystem, quietly controlling your hunger and cravings. Now let us talk carefully about the precise timing and how the rest of your day should actually really look. So you hit your breakfast target, but remember that number is your brain target, not your full daily protein goal. You hit that important brain target first thing in the morning, and now the rest matters just as much too. A very large part of this hunger signaling also connects deeply with the overall health and balance of your gut. So after breakfast, once digestion settles down, consider taking a probiotic or drinking some kefir to support that healthy gut. This gut communication with the hypothalamus is incredibly critical, and research keeps clearly confirming just how truly powerful it is. Your gut and your brain talk constantly, sending signals back and forth that quietly shape your hunger every single hour. When that gut communication is badly broken, your appetite signals get scrambled and your cravings become far harder to control. Try taking your daily probiotic about 30 to 45 minutes after eating, so stomach acid does not destroy it. That smart timing lets it survive past the strong hydrochloric acid usually released during your active early morning digestion phase.
Now, when lunchtime finally arrives, you still want protein, but this time you want a much faster digesting protein source. Before you even sit down for lunch, having a quick whey protein shake sounds wild, but it works surprisingly powerfully. Even just temporarily, your body is always quietly waiting for those protein needs to be met throughout your entire day. You have a daily target, yet it slightly migrates and shifts across each individual meal window all through the day. So that quick whey shake right before lunch makes it far easier to avoid badly overeating at your next meal. This works so well because the fast protein quickly reassures your brain that its protein needs are being handled properly. With that reassurance already in place, you naturally reach for smaller portions without ever feeling deprived or painfully restricted anywhere. This simple lunch trick alone can quietly save you hundreds of unnecessary calories across every single busy long week ahead. Now for dinner, I really want you to intentionally allocate most of your daily carbohydrates toward that later evening meal. I completely know that sounds crazy for insulin-resistant people who fear carbs before bed will badly spike their glucose. But please trust me on this. Eating carbs much earlier actually triggers something powerful called the fascinating second meal effect. The carbs from your earlier lunch can actually raise your blood sugar even higher later during your quiet evening dinner. But honestly, that is not even the main important point I really want you to deeply understand right here now. The real point is that stacking carbs toward the evening after hitting protein goals naturally lowers your total daily intake. Huge population surveys have clearly shown that lower protein intake makes both people and animals eat more and more constantly. They just keep eating endlessly until those specific protein needs are finally and completely met somewhere within their long day. So if your protein stays too low, you will absolutely take in more carbs throughout your entire long busy day. Your calories will just steadily climb higher and higher until you finally reach that missing protein number somewhere much later. So by simply placing your carbs in the evening, they stay out of sight and mostly out of mind entirely. By the time that evening finally arrives, you might not even want all those carbs quite as much anymore, honestly. It is truly a far smarter strategy for insulin-resistant people trying to gently cut their carbs right back down. This slowly helps you rekindle that broken relationship between your cells and the insulin that got so badly disrupted before. Placing your carbs at night also supports better sleep, since carbohydrates gently help calm your busy, tired evening brain down. So this simple evening carb strategy quietly solves two problems at once: better appetite control and much deeper nightly sleep. Now, let us finally talk about the specific foods, because honestly, the exact foods you choose truly matter so enormously. Yes, protein matters greatly, but honestly, the specific kind of protein you choose matters just as much here too, really. This is exactly where something as simple as plain eggs in the morning works tremendously and surprisingly well every time. Eggs obviously provide great quality protein, but they also carry choline, which quietly does something incredibly important inside you daily. Choline is actually the direct precursor to an important brain neurotransmitter that scientists simply call acetylcholine deep inside your body. If you become deficient in acetylcholine, your brain energy gets badly disrupted, and honestly, everything starts feeling much harder daily. When your brain energy drops low, you tend to override it through other quick mechanisms just to boost that energy. That usually means more calories, more sugar, and more intense cravings hitting you hard throughout your entire long, busy day.
You have probably already felt that exact afternoon brain fog that quietly pushes you straight towards sugar and strong coffee. Feeding your hungry brain proper choline early helps quietly prevent that afternoon crash long before it ever even really begins. So plain eggs are truly number one, but there is something even more interesting you can easily do right here. If you can simply mix a little beef with your eggs, you instantly unlock a whole new nutritional layer here. Or if you happen to actually like beef liver, even a tiny bit delivers an incredible micronutrient punch, honestly here. Those rich B vitamins and the natural multivitamin effect of beef help you hit many other hidden micronutrient targets easily. We are slowly learning it might be far less about calories and much more about true nutrient density instead here. Your hungry body will simply keep craving more food until it finally hits every single one of its nutrient needs. This clearly explains exactly why nutrient-void, hyper-palatable, heavily processed foods create such a huge, frustrating problem for us all. We eat tons and tons of them, yet we somehow never actually hit our real nutrient needs at all anyway. So we just keep eating and more, endlessly chasing a satisfaction that never quite fully arrives anyway. This is honestly exactly why so many people feel starving, even while eating thousands of totally empty daily calories anyway. Their hungry bodies are literally searching for missing nutrients, not simply searching for more raw energy or extra calories anyway. So when you finally feed your body real nutrient density, those relentless cravings finally begin to fade away naturally too. What if those processed foods were never truly the real problem, simply because they happen to be heavily processed anyway?
What if the real problem is honestly simply that they badly lack the deep nutrition our bodies so desperately need? Even a basic daily multivitamin might help a little there, but real whole food obviously works far better overall anyway. So simply combine some beef or beef liver with your eggs and you cover a remarkable nutritional range almost instantly. But then we also see really strong evidence pointing directly toward calcium, which honestly turns out to be truly huge. We absolutely need to hit our full calcium needs because bone structure and bone health truly matter enormously to us. So what should you actually do here? Well, here's a slightly wild but surprisingly effective little breakfast trick today. Take just half of an eggshell and gently crush it directly into your morning omelet for that extra needed calcium. But you could also very easily add some cheese, which brings even more of that valuable calcium right along too. You could also easily eat some sardines with the bone, which quietly deliver a serious hit of usable calcium too. You could also enjoy some cottage cheese, some plain Greek yogurt, or even a bit of thick, creamy Icelandic skyr. Just simply put a strong emphasis on dairy protein so you steadily get that important calcium in every single morning. So let us quickly recap this entire simple approach right now so everything stays perfectly clear inside your mind today. You need around 0.6 grams of quality protein per pound of your body weight, consumed fairly early in your busy day. And we now clearly know that your body can easily handle it thanks to those detailed, doubly labeled research studies. Those clever studies clearly show protein absorbs beautifully, even at surprisingly high amounts eaten in one single early morning sitting. Compare that to slowly nibbling tiny protein amounts all day long, which never fully satisfies that hungry, demanding brain signal. You want higher, faster absorbing protein around your lunch, ideally through a quick shake right before you actually start eating.
You want most of your daily carbohydrates deliberately allocated toward the evening rather than scattered across your whole busy day. And you really want the most nutrient-dense foods concentrated right there in your very first meal each single morning. If we honestly do all this, we can finally take the heavy focus off calories for just a brief moment. And instead, we can simply eat until that true deep satiety, when the brain finally says we are genuinely full. This entire simple approach flips the old calorie counting game completely upside down in a genuinely freeing new way now. Instead of constantly fighting your hunger all day, you finally start working directly with your own natural biology for once. And when you truly work with your biology instead of against it, lasting change suddenly feels almost completely effortless somehow. You honestly do not need another extreme diet, another painful fast, or another impossible strict rule to follow anymore today. You simply need to finally feed your brain the exact signal it has been quietly, desperately waiting for every day. Do that one thing consistently, and your appetite, your weight, and your insulin sensitivity all slowly start healing together beautifully. Now, one really important truth is that none of this actually works well if you are not sleeping deeply enough. Poor sleep quietly sabotages all your hunger hormones, your endless cravings, and honestly, this entire protein leverage system completely too. There is a simple natural compound where just 3 small grams at night can help you sleep far more beautifully. It helps you sleep straight through the entire night without constantly waking up, and it is not any harsh drug. So please fix your sleep first, then apply this breakfast protein strategy and watch your entire body slowly transform completely. Because once your tired brain finally stops screaming for food, everything about your health quietly begins changing for good forever. So please start tomorrow morning, hit that protein target early, and let your own healing body finally do the rest. The heavy struggle you have carried for years might finally end with something this quiet, simple, and beautifully, deeply human.